Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, April 16th, and here is our pre-market analysis for QOL trading. And let's get into some economic data here. We have Philly Fed Manufacturing Index 26.7. This came out. The forecast was 10.3%. So we'll see how that's going to impact things here. Let me take a look right now. Negatively. Initially, unemployment claims 207,000. They expected 213,000. That's probably going to be negative on the market. We have some Fed speak at 7:35. What else do we have today? I don't see anything else today. Some more Fed speak, and then that's it for today. Tomorrow, I think that's pretty much it for the economic data. We've got some Fed speak at 1 o'clock tomorrow, but I hope I'm not by my computer tomorrow. It's supposed to be a nice day, and I want to get away from the computer tomorrow. So that being said, let's get into things. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and like this video as well. So let's get into things. Let's start with what we've been doing all week now. Since the war broke out, we've been talking about oils, still lingering here below $100 a barrel, stuck in between the 20 and the 50-day moving average. Right now, sitting $95, $96 a barrel. Not horrible. That's Brent crude. Crude, probably about the same. 91. So now it's dropping below Brent crude, which is where it should be before it was converted, which you don't find that too often. But so now it's coming down to some reality levels here. Let's get into the VIX. The VIX right now below the 200, a little bit kind of hanging around the 200. $18.21, not a bad level there. We do have some gap down levels that are still open here. They will probably get closed at one point or another. We have one from, this is just the other day there. This is on Monday, I think it was. Let me see when this gap was. This gap was from the 13th. Yep. So we've got this gap down here at $19.35. Got some higher gaps up here, $25.74, and then the highest gap that's a gap down here is $30.74, and that's from the 30th, the end of March. So those are still up there, and that would mean that if the VIX elevates, it means the equity prices are going the opposite direction there. So we'll see. We'll see how the markets handle everything that's happening geopolitically right now. So let's say that being said, let's get into the ES. We'll start here right now. So the ES on charted territories on the upside here, record highs 7,078.50. We hit that in pre-market right now. Like to see some pullback. We have some open point of controls here. We've got a 7,034.76 point of control open from yesterday. We've got some open point of controls open from the 13th, 68.57.77. If you've been following the channel here for the last several months, we talk about these point of control levels. They don't necessarily fill right away. We leave them on the charts, and then at some point when the market starts heading in that direction, they will fill them. As when we pull up TSLA today, you'll see what I'm talking about. So it's a perfect example. As far as the downside is concerned, I'd like to see some pullbacks here. Maybe to the 7,004 would be a good pullback. Maybe the previous all-time high, 7,043, would be a good level. On the upside, if you break through, the only thing I've got on the upside here is maybe the 71.61.65 up there. Aside from that, I don't have anything on the upside. Uncharted territories right now. So consolidation probably going to happen right now. I think everybody's probably expecting a pullback, and so if that's the case, wouldn't be surprised if it rips your face off a rally, right? So that could be possibly happen. I think everybody's expecting this, it's very extended right now and probably thinking, oh, well, there's got to be a pullback. Well, no, there doesn't have to be a pullback, right? However, definitely, if you've been trading for a long time, you see probabilities that there is a pullback, but there's nothing is 100%, especially when it comes to trading. So that being said, let's get into the SPY. The SPY is going to be very similar. 701.99 new highs, all-time highs. We will mark that. Unfortunately, this stuff happens in Let's get rid of that. It happens in pre-market, so we'll remove that. Nothing you can do about that. All-time high, easy to mark. Okay, that's done. Same thing on the SPY. We have a regressional trend line here. Could pull back to, that would be a decent level here from October of 2022. 698.50 if you pull back to that level. We have a little point of control. No, that's actually not open from there. We do have a point of control level that's open from Monday, 682.26. That would be a decent level. If you do get some downside, you come back down, and you probably fill a lot of these different levels here. I think this first level of support would be the 691.66. If you do get some downside here, it is a December monthly high. Below that, you've got an October monthly high, 689.70. And when you break these levels and you come back down to a high, a break and retest, these are fantastic levels to use. You know, you can also use a previous all-time high. That's a break and retest, right? I usually like a longer break and then come back down for a retest. I usually like a bigger distance before I use that level. I don't like a really tight break and a retest level there. I like some distance between that level before I use it for support. So that being said, right there, as far as the upside, same thing on the upside. Don't really have any levels on the upside. You could do a Fibonacci and give yourself a level up here, maybe 710.62 on the upside here if you do get a face rip and rally. So that's there on the upside, and we covered the downside there. So let's get over to NASDAQ. NASDAQ, let's see in the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ, yeah, we're getting pullbacks here on the NASDAQ. We do have an open point of control from yesterday. I'm going to mark that in here. So this is from yesterday. So mark that. And then I believe, do we have anything lower? Yeah, we still have one from the 13th as well. There's a lot of them open from the 13th. So we have this 26,186.37. It's sitting right below this regressional trend line here from October 2022 as well. And then this point of control here from yesterday. So this would be a decent line of support, along with a higher end regressional trend line here that I have from August. So there's some decent support here. If the market pulls back, this would be a good level of support, the first one here. And if you lose that level, I would say that, you know, this would be a line in the sand for support there, that 26,102. If you lose that, then you're going to come back down to these previous highs. 25,935.25 is going to be your first level. If you lose that, 25,815 is a weekly high from October last year. And then, of course, it's a domino effect. If you start losing these levels, then you just keep bouncing from level to level, right? So just mark these levels on your board. Again, on the upside, nothing here. We can take a look at the upside. You can do a Fibonacci. Give yourself a little extension level. Upside 26,913.28 would give you the upside if you do break through on the upside there. So again, probability, say maybe a little pullback bounce, right? So right now you're above all the moving averages right now. So very extended from the moving averages. So you'd like to see them come back down a little bit and get closer there, and then have some rebound though. But that being said, when you're above the moving averages, now your thesis and your plays are looking for pullback longs, right? When we were below, everything was below the moving averages, you were looking for, pop and fades, right? Now we popped above them, right? We popped above these since last week, and now we're looking for pullback longs, right? So that's what you're looking for right now. So that being said, let's get over into the Qs, and we'll get over to Tesla, and then we will close up this morning session. So same thing here. Didn't quite get to the all-time high, 643.76 on the Qs. Do we have some open point of controls? We do have an open point of control as well from the 13th, just like all the rest of them. 614.31. I like this level. Be good for that housekeeping to come and clean everything up. So you still have this level up here, 643.76. And then this is a regressional trend line here from April of 2025 here at 645.41 on the upside there. So if you do get some pop, I would expect a little resistance up there at that level there. I would not mind a little pullback, 633.14 maybe, but a better level pullback, 629.21 or the 626.74 level, which is the high from the 13th here. That would be a pretty decent level. And then again, if you lose that, I think you're going to rapidly come down to the 617.52 price level here, because I don't see, it was kind of quick, rapid move up here. Little buying in here, a little, a little buy and sell, but not much. I think it was kind of straight up a little bit. So I would say if you lose this 626.74, be prepared for that 617.52 to come into play. So that being said, let's get into Tesla. Again, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and like this video. So Tesla, face ripping rally yesterday. I'll tell you, haven't seen one of these in quite some time. We're looking at a 30-minute chart here. We can look at a 15-minute chart. There are no buyers here. Boom, boom, boom. I was saying in the trading room, I haven't seen a rally like this without any pullback in a long time. You had some pullback early in the morning, but aside from that, it hit all kinds of our levels yesterday. So we had a lot of our point of controls. I'll clean this up here. Look at our point of controls first. So our point of control levels, they all got clean. They all got, not all of them, excuse me. We had a point of control here that was from the 25th that got filled yesterday. So we're going to mark filled on here. Filled 4/15/26. That's done. And then we actually had this 397.89 point of control filled this morning. So I'm going to mark filled on there this morning. And so the reason why I mark filled and don't take them off the screen is because right now they're still in play. So you could see what happened here. This one got filled. I left this. You see how I left this on my charts here? It was a great level. Yesterday morning, we came right back down to this level, and we bounced, and we just rallied hard. And I said in yesterday's pre-market, this was our line in the sand yesterday, this 368.01. I said if we get above this 368.01 yesterday, that we were going to rapidly come up into this 378.60. Did I think that we were going to go all the way up to 394? If you would have asked me 100 times yesterday morning, I would have said probably not. I would have said if we did get through that 378, I may have said this yesterday. I have to go back and watch the video. I probably said that if we did get through that 378, that we would come back into this weekly low at 385.33. But I thought if you come back into the, not that I thought, but typically when you come back into a low, just like I was talking about previously on a break and retest, this is a good break and retest level, right? You broke through. Let me just expand this a little bit to show you what I'm talking about. So if we go 90 days. So you broke through the low here and you come back and retest it. And typically you would get a little reaction here for it to come down. There was no reaction here at all. It just plowed right through this low and it didn't even look back. And then another low, a February monthly low, which is a typical strong level, plowed right through that level as well. So it plowed through a weekly low, it plowed through a monthly low. A monthly low, that usually, to me, that's usually a strong level. And it just nailed through that. And I have an upper regressional trend line here. So this is a lot of confirmation for me to see resistance here. And I'll tell you, I made money yesterday, and it's a miracle I made money yesterday because typically, in the years past, I would just crush my account here on these straight up moves with no pullbacks, and I'm using my levels for support and resistance. And if I'm not in this move and I miss this move, I'm then looking for levels where I'm going to short the market instead of trying to, hop on a train and, when it's too late. So thank you for just, my learning and just getting out of my trades. I was getting in these trades here. I was living and dying by the swords. However, I was getting out of the trades when I saw that there was just a lot of steam, a lot of volume. And, this right here was the reason why I didn't lose a lot of money yesterday, because I saw all the volume pushing through. It wasn't light volume like right here. You can see light volume right here. When you see that light volume, that's when your levels are going to hold up. Okay. So that being said, looking at what we're seeing today, we popped above this 200-day moving average, exponential moving average, 390.56. This would be a decent level. This 394 level also, this was a monthly high from February of 2025. That was a pretty decent level that I had there. So you can see right now we're holding above that level in pre-market. So, you have all kinds of levels now here on the, supporting this. So you've got this point of control here, that's 388.90. Definitely would like to see some pullback on Tesla, but I'm going to tell you something about Tesla. I think that the rally was all based on the announcement of chips that they have coming out. They're building, they've got some advancements and they're building 2 factories in Texas, what I read today. So we have to be prepared. If you do get a pop, I've seen this before in Tesla. People are thinking, oh, it's got to pull back. It's got to pull back. When you get this rip-roaring rally like this, and I know I've spoken of speed zones before, this kind of rally yesterday with the volume that came through, you have to pay attention to that kind of rally, right? So you can't be saying to yourself, okay, well, Tesla, we got, it's going to come back and it's going to cover this today. That being said, it could, but you got to watch your levels. If you lose, I would say if you lose this 385.39, then it's conceivable that you're going to give back a lot of this move and come back down to this gap area, right? So we filled this, one thing to talk about yesterday, I spoke of that this 368.01 level was the line in the sand for yesterday morning. If you get above that level, you're going to rally hard. And sure enough, why did I say that? Because we were going to fill this. This was the speed zone that I was looking at that happened in the post-market, right? So that was, to me, this was not a substantial downside move, and that could be gobbled up really quickly. This happened during trading hours, so this is more. There's more validity on this move than there is on a move that happens after hours, right? So I said if we get through this move right here, this 368.01, that we're going to quickly shoot up here and close this gap down here that we had here from April 1st, right? So sure enough, close that gap, and now we are hovering up above these high levels here. 400 could be a big level of resistance. That's a psychological level. But I can see us possibly getting up to this 407.29 level, and maybe if you do get through that level on this midline regressional trend line that I have here from January 17th of 2023, you go back to those original all-time highs at 414.50 set back in January 14th of 2021, where you would get some resistance up at that level. On the downside, we spoke of the downside right now. I would say significant downside, saying that this move is over if you lose this 385.39. I'd be looking for pullback longs. First pullback long, I would say maybe this 390.56 could be a decent level. Obviously, it's holding this 394 level, but I think even for a further pullback would be better. I think a monthly low here, this 387.53. You saw how it responded yesterday. Held up pretty decent yesterday, so that's, right now that's pretty viable, so you're going to watch that level. But like I said, here's another level here. This is a high-end regressional trend line. If we fan out a little bit and we look at this level here, this is from the high, all-time highs, this regressional trend line here that we're trading in, and now we broke out of it. So now we broke out of this regressional trend line, so now hopefully you can start making that move to the upside. But you always got to be prepared for Tesla. Tesla giveth and it taketh the ways, right? So watch yourself on it. So I do like if it does pull back, this regressional trend line lines up with this weekly low from March 2nd, 385.39. That's a nice pullback level. However, Tesla could continue to rip right now. So watch yourself on that as well, because I know people are expecting Tesla to pull back. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are caught short with Tesla right now. So let's get over to the options on what we're going to do on the option side today. We're going to use tomorrow's expiration date. I have 395 calls up here. You can see where they close at $5.40. We are about $3 higher. So these will be elevated on the open unless in another 50 minutes or so, or 40 minutes or so, we do come back and we open up right around the close. So this will probably open up in I would say maybe in the fives, high fives, if it were to open up right now. But if we do get down to the previous day close, it'll be in the fives, and if we're below the previous day close, it'll be in the high fours. As far as the puts, I'm going to have the 395 puts, and both of these are going to expire tomorrow. You can see where they're at right now. They closed at 350, and because we're elevated right now, these will probably be in the low threes, high twos, maybe open up in $2.60 premium range. So we'll see. That's what I'm going to start with before, as the market opens, and we'll see as the morning moves. I'll be switching my calls as I did yesterday as well. But if we take a look at yesterday, I mean, yesterday, if you were on it and you were watching the volume come in, I'm going to show you something on the options trading too. You could have made, if you knew what you were doing, you could have made a ton of money yesterday, right? You have a $32 move on Tesla yesterday. It's one of the biggest moves it's had in probably a few years. They've had a couple $26 moves, but nothing like it had yesterday. If we right out of the box here, never look back. The opening range here was 362.50 to 366.84. Once it broke that 366, like I said, your first initial move to 366, you could have gotten a $12 move out of that, and your day is over. Your day could have been over before 9 o'clock yesterday, right? One thing I want to show you, so I pay attention to volume not only on the equity side. So you can see I have my volume here, but I also have my volume on the option side too. So I want to show you something yesterday on the option side. There was some crazy volume that came through on the option side yesterday. So yesterday, I wasn't trading this particular call yesterday, but on almost all the options, look at this right here. Watch this box right here. Right, there was 4,000, over 4,000 shares traded. Now this is a 1-minute chart. So somebody bought a 4,000 lot right here. When you see something like that, and so that when I'm trading options, I'm paying attention to these candles down below as well to see the volume here. If I see a big spike in volume, that's telling me, especially 4,000 shares, that's not a retail person trading 4,000 shares within a minute. That's an institution. That's somebody saying, hey, I know something and we're going higher. Okay. So they bought this, 4,000 shares, and the range that they bought it was $5.10 up to $5.70, and it got as high as $7.27. The amount of money that they made with this trade here was I can't even do the numbers on it. I mean, they bought 4,000 millions. So pay attention to the volumes here. These are scripts that I have on my charts as well. So I pay attention to volumes. This is how you pay attention to price action, both on the equity side and on the option side. So very important. Watch your price action. Don't watch the animation on the candles, right? That's giving you an indication on the direction where it's going. But then this is where your money is made, down here. Pay attention to your volumes, right? So anyways, another announcement that I want to make, that they just made an announcement yesterday, the SEC, for the day traders. I think this is going to definitely increase the retail traders. They just passed the minimum requirement that you're going to need in your account starting May 28th. You will no longer need $25,000 in your account once you are considered a pattern day trader. What does that mean? I think your minimum requirement that you're going to need is $2,000 in your account. And so that means that as long as you don't trigger a margin call on your account, you can trade an account as small as $2,000. So that being said, we are currently setting up Discord and a Discord channel with trading, and it is going to be chargeable. Probably by next week, it's going to be a minimal charge to come on into the channel. To join and get the education that we're going to provide along with the day trading from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And so please pass the word along. Anybody that's grandfathered in there, you're in the channel. Congratulations. But aside from that, great news for the small day traders. If people want to try to grow their account, this is the spot for it. So come on into the channel. Help me with any kind of questions you have, and I'll be glad to answer them. If I don't answer them, I will be the first one to tell you that I don't know. However, I have been trading both. I was trading on the floor in the S&P pit from 1989 to 1995, and then I went off the floor to be trading what I'm doing right now. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. So that being said, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, like this video, and go down in the description and join our Discord community. And again, live trading 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. If I don't see you in there, we'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Have a safe trading day, and watch your lot size.